Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, PLP leader Philip Davis today distancing himself and the party from allegations against Peter Nygaard. Legal action could be on the horizon as foreign fishermen secure legal counsel. Plus, Bay Street merchants are ringing in the holidays with the Christmas shopping rush. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis slamming questions regarding his party's relationship with fashion designer Peter Nygaard after the former Lyford Key resident was indicted in a federal court last week. Davis calling the questions a distraction, insisting he won't allow the PLP to be scandalized. Jared Higgs reports.
But I'm not concerned about a foreign action that has been brought up against a foreign person who may have had an interest in the Bahamas.
That's how Davis responded when asked whether he was ever made aware of concerns about Nygaard misconduct and whether the PLP regrets taking money from him. The PLP leader described questions over the relationship between Nygaard and his party as a distraction.
I will not stand idly by and allow the PLP to be scandalized. I will be responding to them when appropriate, but I will not be dealing with that subject matter to be distracted.
When news of Nygaard's arrest broke, both the FNM and PLP sought to point the finger at each other. The FNM called the PLP silence troubling, while the PLP asserted that the FNM was a recipient of donations from Nygaard, and as a government, it ought to address the matter. But a video from 2013 showing several PLP cabinet ministers being introduced to Nygaard has drawn scrutiny now and then.
And you as reporters ought to be concerned about what the issues are in this country and not be distracted.
Nygaard was arrested in Canada and faces charges in the United States. According to an indictment filed by federal prosecutors in New York, Nygaard allegedly took part in a decades-long pattern of criminal conduct involving at least dozens of victims in the United States, the Bahamas, and Canada, among other locations. Davis's comments today differ from a Twitter post last week where he described the allegations against Nygaard as extremely serious and disturbing and should be pursued to the full extent of the law. He added that he hopes the women involved receive justice. Today, he said, his focus is on the issues that he says will matter in the next election.
We need to understand the economic crisis that we are in. We need to understand the challenges that COVID pose and may continue to pose. We have to be able to deal with that. And we have to deal with how we grow this economy to ensure that we alleviate and bring relief to our Bahamian people.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, a group of Bahamian fishing companies, foreign fishermen, and their wives has written to Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources Michael Pintard requesting that the Fisheries Bill 2020 be put on hold to allow consultation on the matter. The bill, which was passed unanimously in both the House of Assembly and Senate, bans foreign fishermen from engaging in commercial fishing. The letter, penned by attorney Alfred Sears, QC, describes certain provisions of the bill as discriminatory, claiming that they breach certain fundamental and natural justice rights of his clients. He writes, "There is no reasonable justification in treating holders of spousal permits, permanent residency certificates, and Bahamian-owned commercial fishing enterprises in such an unfair, unreasonable, and discriminatory manner." He adds there isn't an adequate number of qualified and experienced Bahamian commercial fishing divers on New Providence to meet labor demands. If Sears and his clients don't receive the answer they want by December 30th, he says a constitutional motion will be filed. In other news, amid public outcry over some aspects of the Fisheries Bill, Immigration Minister Ellsworth Johnson argues that there can be legal discrimination. Kyle Joaquin has the story.
Johnson said it's a beautiful thing that former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham as well as former Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquist spoke up on the issue, but he said this is a stance the government needs to take.
Sometimes you could legally discriminate, and you see that with police officers in other areas.
The Fisheries Bill 2020 prevents non-Bahamian citizens, including spouses of Bahamians, from engaging in commercial fishing. The provision has generated pushback in some quarters, but the minister told reporters on Tuesday that the government isn't breaking any laws, as sometimes discrimination is legal.
Persons can't just come to Salami and decide want to be an MP, and you're not a citizen, or a senator, or police officer, or any varied number of areas.
On Monday, several wives and children of foreign fishermen called for the government to reconsider its stance on the bill, calling it offensive. However, Johnson says the bill, in his opinion, goes beyond immigration issues or even marriages. He said there are times when non-Bahamian citizens should stay out of Bahamians' business.
Being a citizen is more than just a vote. And I tell people, if you want to, there are certain things that only a citizen could participate in this country, right? And I also just tell people, if you're not a citizen, then you should stay out of our business and allow us to do certain things.
Among the more prominent critics of the bill is former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram, who in a letter to the editor called the provision pointedly discriminatory. Ingram says it undermines the Free National Movement's record of promoting equality. He added that the offending provision will overwhelmingly, if not exclusively, have a negative impact on the foreign-born husbands of Bahamian women. The former Prime Minister's stance is in line with comments made by East Grand Bahama MP Peter Turnquest, who last week cautioned the nation against heading down a slippery slope. But despite concerns, the bill was passed in the Senate on Monday.
I've heard the former Prime Minister, and it's beautiful in a constitutional democracy that people could come forward and make their wishes known. But at the end of the day, the government is to make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of this country, and that is in the best interest of this country. As
he pointed to the significance of the fishing industry to the local economy, Johnson insisted that some jobs ought to be reserved for Bahamians.
For more than 10 years, Adrian, LaRoda, and everybody has been arguing about this. And it's more than just, we're looking at how you preserve species. How do you do research? How do you do all these different things? So for more than 10 years, everybody vacillating back and forth. And action is now taken.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Meanwhile, PLP leader Philip Davis is calling on the Minnis administration to stop pointing fingers over an agreement allowing Bahamas Petroleum Company to drill for oil. According to Davis, government can make whatever changes it wants.
Governance is about priorities and choices. We are not the government. They are. This project and the activities are being executed under their administration. Whatever they deem they need to do to respond to whatever they think they need to respond to, they ought to do it and stop pointing fingers.
Davis was responding to Attorney General Carl Bethel, who said in the Senate Monday that the Christie administration's agreement with BPC over potential royalties if commercial quantities of oil are found in the Bahamas will shortchange Bahamians. Bethel accused the PLP of gross negligence, having agreed to royalty fees that are far less than the global average, saying the Minnis administration will seek to improve the benefits of any potential oil discovery for the Bahamian people.
If he feels that he could renegotiate, then he should renegotiate it and get the deal that he and his government would wish to have.
And the government signing a $480,000 contract today in a move to make the judicial system paperless. Officials say the digitization and modernization of the judiciary will not only reduce the backlog, but lead to swift justice. Bethany McDermott has that.
The judicial system taking another step towards a complete paperless system as government signed a contract with ZCOM to implement a digitization and migration system for all paper-based court documents. The contract is worth nearly $480,000. Chief Justice Brian Murray said this is step 3 in a 4-step plan to overhaul the court system and will be a major tool in reducing the backlog.
The digitization of the court dockets and the court documents, first of all, is going to reduce the disposition cycle for cases. That means that we're going to be able to reduce the lifespan from the commencement of the case to the delivery of the judgment. We are going to have fewer adjournments because we won't have difficulties with the file and getting the papers before the judges.
The digitization, he added, will cover documents for at least the past 30 years and will also drive significant changes in court rules and practices. He added this will provide increased transparency, greater accessibility to information, enhanced mobility, and higher levels of efficiency in the preservation of data. National Security Minister Marvin Dame said this exercise will digitize the estimated 4.3 million documents within the 5-court registry.
This digitization and migration exercise will convert all paper into digital format. These digital documents will then be stored on a network server for easy access through the integrated case management system platform.
But what happens if the digital platform crashes?
We do have redundancies, we have disaster recovery processes, and a number of other safeguards in place, as well as the continuing maintenance of the paper records, for the foreseeable future. So this will start to alleviate that reliance on those paper documents, but there are several safeguards in place.
Once the digitization process is completed, Maurice says the documents will eventually be destroyed. The migration process will begin in January and is expected to last some 12 months. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Clear conditions outside the Our News studios tonight. Greg Thompson is here in the Weather Center. Greg?
Thanks, Christina. Our first look at weather tonight is being brought to you by InfoGrow. Current conditions outside our studios. We are warm and breezy, temperatures into the mid-70s, 75 is our current temperature. Your winds out of the northeast at 11 knots. Feels like temperature around 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Satellite view around the area. We have that front boundary washing out across the central Bahamas. Some isolated showers still associated with that, but high pressure remains in charge. We'll continue to provide the breezy conditions across the islands tonight through tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, volunteers during the COVID-19 pandemic will be paid. Plus, it almost looks like business as usual on Bay Street. Stay with us.
Just when you thought the year would end drought, Rev came through with Magic and Holiday Cheer. Our cashback will double, making more spirits rise, with chances to spin and with a dope random prize. The rules are quite simple. You can find them online. Just sign up for Trio and pay your Rev bill on time. Our grocery store dash is sure to bring smiles as 16 lucky winners tear through the aisles. Call 601-8992 or visit rev.bs/promotions to find out how you can win with Rev's Field of Magic giveaway. Rev, you and us, together.
Health Minister Renward Wells confirming the government has yet to pay the promised honorarium of $5,000 to those healthcare professionals who volunteered to care for COVID-19 patients at the start of the pandemic. The minister says the government is strapped for cash, but assured healthcare professionals that the Minnis administration will honor its commitment in time.
When the government is in a position whereby we can meet that part of our commitment, because that's an ex gratia payment. It's an additional payment on your payment already for the works that you have been doing. So when the government is in a better position to do that, we will do just that. We will meet our commitment.
The government agreed to pay the honorarium amid concerns over the working conditions of healthcare workers. In addition to pledging to make the payment, government also committed to a life insurance benefit of $100,000 should a healthcare worker die while caring for a COVID-19 patient. Wells also shooting down claims that the Pan American Health Organization provided funds for the exercise, calling it fake news.
That is not true. That is not true. People need to stop with this fake news and these lies. There was no monies given by PAHO to the government of the Bahamas. PAHO does not pay healthcare workers in the Bahamas. PAHO pays its workers that are part of the Pan American Health Organization.
And the Bahamas Judiciary signing a 3-year contract with Junkanoo Pays to facilitate e-payments for the family courts in the Magistrates Court. Chief Justice Brian Marie explains why the move is so vital.
This new software will provide an electronic platform for making and receiving payments in the family court pursuant to orders by the magistrate. The use of the service platform will be voluntary, and certain transactions will attract a modest user fee, which you will hear more about shortly. The benefits for the court users will include the following: more convenient for users in that they will not have to visit the Magistrates Court complex.
And in the countdown to Christmas, Bahamians are out and about picking up last-minute gift items. The shopping experience looks a bit different this year, but businesses are happy to be back in the swing of things. Jillian Gray has that.
It's been a slow ramp-up for John Bull, but Director of Development Inga Bolag said they're grateful for their customers. As many are shopping with lower budgets, Bolag said 2020 can't be compared to any other year.
Retail has been impacted significantly during this pandemic, as many other sectors, right? But we're grateful for the little that people may be spending. So maybe I'm not coming out this year to spend, and I don't have a $500 budget, but maybe I just want to treat someone to a $50 gift card. And those are the things that we're seeing.
40 of their store locations have been affected in some way by the shutdown of the tourism industry. But with that industry reopening, they're optimistic things will turn around. Along with the usual safety measures, John Bull has put in place extra precautions, like requiring patrons to sanitize their hand or neck before trying on jewelry.
After someone tries an article of clothing, we're required to steam it and set it aside, again, a minimum of 24 hours. Footwear, when you enter our stores, whether it's John Bull or Tory Burch or Gucci, Michael Kors, you're required to sanitize your feet.
Despite the new measures brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic, shoppers say they don't mind shopping at home, and some said they found the experience quite enjoyable.
The process is actually much smoother than I expected. I just came from John Bull, and we just were able to quickly sanitize and get our temperature checked, and we were on to better things.
It's a little bit different. Usually, I would go to the States to go shopping, but it's nice actually shopping home. I feel good supporting local businesses as well.
Has it been particularly busy, have you found?
Yeah, I was in John Bull for maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I only have 2 bags.
Right. We caught Bahamas Chamber of Commerce Chairman Crystal Rutherford gift shopping, and she said her experience, though different than the norm, was a good one. She added that business owners she's spoken to have been grateful to get back into the swing of things.
They have weathered a lot throughout this whole ordeal, but they are happy to see that a lot of the restrictions have been loosened. They are having their return customers come back to them. Of course, during this time, they may have lost some persons to shopping abroad, but nonetheless, people are coming back. Sales are down compared to last year, but that's to be expected.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
When Our News comes back from the break, the gift of groceries for hundreds of families, plus understanding the art of Junkanoo. Stay with us.
Just when you thought the year would end drought, Rev came through with Magic and Holiday Cheer. Our cashback will double, making more spirits rise, with chances to spin and with a dope random prize. The rules are quite simple. You can find them online. Just sign up for Trio and pay your Rev bill on time. Our grocery store dash is sure to bring smiles as 16 lucky winners tear through the aisles. Call 601-8992 or visit rev.vs/promotions to find out how you can win with Rev's Field of Magic giveaway. Rev, you and us, together.
This is Our News. Welcome back. 800 people heading home with bundles of groceries today, gifts for families that have fallen on hard times. Giorgio Bain reports.
Cars lined Gladstone Road this afternoon as the Head Notes Foundation prepared to give their final box and voucher initiative, just days ahead of the Christmas holiday. Sporting Santa hats, volunteers quickly popped trunks and car doors and loaded cars with groceries and diapers. Director and Treasurer Lana Lee Brogdon said it was important for the foundation to spread a little Christmas joy as they bring to a close their feeding initiative, which kicked off following Hurricane Dorian.
Today we have 800 boxes that will feed 4 to 6 people. And we have given these vouchers to members of Parliament to distribute to those most in need, as well as to pastors and to soup kitchens. Our food boxes today have the basics: tuna, corned beef, grits, rice, and it's enough to feed 4 to 6 people. So we're very excited to be able to provide that for those families that are most in need here.
Yulette Clark was one of the first persons in line and says with all of the changes caused by the pandemic, she is grateful for the donation.
I'm not working, and this is a good help for me and my grandchildren.
When will this Christmas be for you this year?
Well, it'll be quite different because, money. Can't buy nothing. You understand that? Well, at least I have a little bit of food, thank God for that.
Scott Sawyer thanked Head Notes and other non-profit organizations that helped to make the year a bit more bearable for struggling Bahamians.
Well, it means a lot. It's kind of a very interesting support. The fact that, they're helping out people out in need that are in crisis, who are really feeling the pinch of this pandemic. And any support or any minor help goes a long way.
It's a little help towards
Christmas. Not only that, I working, but I'm making much money right now because the economy and our hours cut back. But I still thank God for the 2 boxes. We had to wait on NIB, but NIB took very long for it. But true, my mom have a farm, so whatever we could grow and pick and make like soups and stuff like that, that's how I survive, that's how I make it.
Expressing her gratitude, Yolanda says this year's Christmas won't be any different for her because she's grateful for life.
It's not going to be different because I have life. And whatever I get, I'm grateful for.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
Well, with no Junkanoo parades to look forward to this Boxing Day and New Year's Day, the holidays will be a little different this year. In tonight's A Few of My Favorite Things, Jasmine Brown gives us a first-hand look at the art of pasting a Junkanoo costume the good old-fashioned way.
While there may be no Junkanoo parades this year, those who live for Junkanoo are still finding a way to keep the spirit alive, like here at Junkanoo World, where I learned how to paste a costume for the very first time. There are those who get joy from just watching Junkanoo, and there are those who find fulfillment by participating in parades every year. For me, watching Junkanoo when I'm not working has become a holiday tradition. Like thousands of other Bahamians, I'll be missing the parades this year, so I thought I'd get my Junkanoo fix by learning how to paste a costume from Junkanoo expert and leader of Barabbas and the tribe, Quentin Barabbas Woodside.
We can't let this die. Even though the tribe, Barabbas and the tribe, we can't let this die. We live as one. And I want our nation out there to understand how important this is.
His passion for Junkanoo was clear as he showed me the old, the new, and the different ways of decorating a Junkanoo costume, from what he calls the straight to the curly to the smooth and the rushed. Woodside says Junkanooers know how to get a costume decorated in time to make it onto Bay Street.
The judges will come right up on the costume and think this is not French, but it's actually French. See how it's small and French?
I already know what my favorite is.
I know too. The curly one.
And then it was my turn to try it out after a quick lesson from the costume making guru. As a costume making newbie, I of course started out with the easiest type of decorating, the rushed.
Just take the brush and do just what they do in the second.
So people will skip the design.
Oh yeah, that's now you go wipe it right across and put it on. Watch out fast. Okay, now put your paper on.
And tear it?
Mm-hmm. So make sure it cover that next time. Now wipe it again.
I feel like I gunking it's right off.
That's all right. All right, make sure I come to the end. Right to the end. Right to the end. Good. Make sure I go to the end. Now you take that and put that right across.
And while it may not have looked pretty, Woodside assured me it could be turned into a masterpiece. The rush could end up looking okay.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
And while I got a quick lesson, one thing was quite clear. Decorating a Junkanoo costume is an art form. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. That was such a good effort. Coming up, Santa stops by the Ramfurly home. Stay with us.
Just when you thought the year would end drought, Rev came through with Magic and Holiday Cheer. Our cashback will double, making more spirits rise, with chances to spin and with a dope random prize. The rules are quite simple. You can find them online. Just sign up for Trio and pay your Rev bill on time. Our grocery store dash is sure to bring smiles as 16 lucky winners tear through the aisles. Call 601-8992 or visit rev.vs/promotions to find out how you can win with Rev's Field of Magic giveaway. Rev, you and us, together.
Welcome back to Our News. How are weather conditions looking as we rush into the holidays? Here's Greg back in the weather studio.
Thanks again, Christina. In our second look at weather, we take a look at our satellite view around the area. High pressure remains in charge, generating the breezy conditions across the area. We do still have that front boundary just across the central Bahamas with some isolated showers associated with that boundary. But the high pressure will slide out towards the east, turning our winds more towards the east over the next day or two. So we should see a slight warm-up before a more significant cold front on Christmas Day. Your boating forecast for all areas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots. The seas 4 to 6 feet over the ocean. High tide will be at 8:20 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Sunday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a great night, everyone. Christina?
Thanks, Greg. Well, Santa stopped by the Ramfurly Home for Children a little early this Christmas as personalized duffel bags with the children's names embroidered on them were unpacked from Santa's sleigh this week. Founder of the Dreamcatcher Charitable Foundation, Kenny Hill, says the children were asked to make a list of everything they wanted for Christmas, and the foundation did its best to grant every wish.
We work with a lot of children in Canada and throughout North America. And giving back to the children, they're our future. You never know, they'll be our future leaders. They can be anything they want in the future. And if we can help and be a part of that, a positive role in their lives, especially at a time like Christmas and things like that, that makes our heart sing.
The foundation, based in Canada, has been active in the Bahamas since the passage of Hurricane Dorian. Assistant Administrator of the Ramfurly Home for Children, Princess Burrows, says the donation will ensure that the children have a great Christmas.
This is love, a celebration, knowing that someone during this time, what is happening right now with the pandemic, that someone is thinking about them, someone is reaching out to them, and it will bring light to the tunnel to know that, hey, someone who is so far has come over so near to reach out to give them a better Christmas.
Well, that does it for our news tonight. I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.